asked AI.
The Epic of Gilgamesh is an ancient Mesopotamian epic poem that tells the story of Gilgamesh, a king of the city of Uruk. It is considered to be the oldest known work of literature, dating back to approximately 2100–1000 BC. The epic is also one of the most important works of ancient Mesopotamian culture, and it has had a significant influence on later Western literature, including the Bible. There are a number of similarities between the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible. One of the most striking similarities is the flood story. In both stories, a god or gods decide to destroy humanity with a flood, but one righteous man is warned and saved along with his family and a pair of each animal. After the flood, the righteous man and his family repopulate the earth. Another similarity between the two stories is the theme of the search for immortality. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh travels to the ends of the earth in search of a plant that will grant him eternal life. In the Bible, Adam and Eve eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in an attempt to become like God. However, in both stories, the search for immortality is ultimately unsuccessful. In addition to these two major similarities, there are a number of other parallels between the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible. For example, both stories feature a wise old man who gives advice to the protagonist, Utnapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh and Noah in the Bible. Both stories also feature a serpent who tempts the protagonist, the serpent in the Garden of Eden and the serpent who tempts Gilgamesh to eat the plant of immortality. It is important to note that there are also a number of differences between the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible. For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a polytheistic story, while the Bible is a monotheistic story. Additionally, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a much more pessimistic story than the Bible. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh is ultimately forced to accept his mortality and the futility of the search for immortality. In the Bible, on the other hand, there is a promise of eternal life for those who believe in God. Despite their differences, the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Bible are two of the most important works of literature in the Western world. Both stories have had a profound influence on culture and thought for centuries. Inspiration for the Bible. Many scholars believe that the authors of the Bible were familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh and that they drew inspiration from it when writing their own stories. For example, the flood story in the book of Genesis is very similar to the flood story in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Additionally, the theme of the search for immortality is found in both the Epic of Gilgamesh and the book of Ecclesiastes. It is important to note that the authors of the Bible were not simply copying the Epic of Gilgamesh. They adapted the stories and themes from the Epic of Gilgamesh to fit their own monotheistic worldview. For example, in the biblical flood story, God destroys humanity because of their wickedness. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, on the other hand, the gods destroy humanity because they are noisy and disturb their sleep. The fact that the authors of the Bible drew inspiration from the Epic of Gilgamesh does not mean that the Bible is any less important or sacred. The Bible is a complex and multifaceted work of literature that has its own unique message and significance. However, it is important to acknowledge the influence of other cultures and traditions on the Bible. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a powerful and moving story that continues to speak to readers today. It is a story that reminds us of our shared humanity and the importance of living life to the fullest. It is also a story that has had a significant influence on Western culture and thought, including the Bible. By studying the Epic of Gilgamesh, we can gain a better understanding of our own cultural heritage and the origins of some of the most important stories in the world. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.